Picture this: crystal clear turquoise water, private jets, supermodels on yachts, and the promise of the most exclusive, luxurious music festival the world has ever seen. This was the Fyre Festival, an event that promised a once-in-a-lifetime experience on a private island in the Bahamas once owned by Pablo Escobar. The marketing was flawless. A viral campaign featuring names like Kendall Jenner, Bella Hadid, and Hailey Bieber painted a picture of an influencer paradise. Tickets ranged from a few $1,000s to an eye-watering $250,000 for VIP packages. For that price, you'd get gourmet meals prepared by celebrity chefs, luxury villa accommodations, and intimate performances from major artists like Blink-182 and Major Lazer. It sounded too good to be true. And as thousands of eager festival goers would soon discover, it absolutely was. The first red flag appeared just before the festival was set to begin. Blink-182, one of the headliners, abruptly pulled out. They released a statement saying they were not confident the festival would have what they needed to give their fans the quality performance they deserved. At the time, many brushed it off as a minor hiccup. But for those on the inside, it was a sign of the chaos that was about to unfold. The organizers, a wannabe tech mogul named Billy McFarland, and the rapper Ja Rule, had sold a dream they had no possible way of delivering. They had the vision, the marketing genius, but none of the logistical expertise or, frankly, the reality check needed to pull off an event of this magnitude. They were building the plane while it was already taking off, and it was headed for a spectacular crash. As the first wave of attendees landed in the Bahamas, the fantasy shattered instantly. There were no private jets, no luxury villas. Instead of the glamorous escape they were promised, they were greeted by a chaotic, unfinished campsite. The luxury, eco-friendly domes were actually leftover disaster relief tents, many of which were soaking wet from a recent storm. The gourmet cuisine. It was a sad-looking cheese sandwich served in a styrofoam container, a photo that quickly went viral and became the symbol of the entire fiasco. There were no celebrity chefs, no fine dining, just a desperate scramble for food and water. The site was a mess, with feral dogs roaming around and luggage being unceremoniously dumped from a shipping container in the middle of the night. The promised paradise was a nightmare. There was no electricity in many of the tents, no running water, and the portable toilets were overflowing. People's expensive belongings were getting stolen. Panic began to set in. The sun set, and with it, any remaining hope. There were no bands, no DJs, no festival, just hundreds of stranded, wealthy millennials on a dark, undeveloped stretch of land with dwindling supplies and no way to get home. The local Bahamians, who had been hired to build the site and work the event, hadn't been paid. They were just as much victims as the attendees, their hard work and trust completely exploited. The atmosphere turned from excitement to desperation, and then to outright fear. People were locked in the airport without food or water, waiting for flights that never seemed to arrive. The dream had devolved into a Lord of the Flies situation. So, how did it all go so wrong? The story behind Fyre Festival is a masterclass in hubris, deception, and the dark side of influencer culture. Billy McFarland was a charismatic con artist who had a history of overpromising and underdelivering with his previous ventures. He was brilliant at selling an idea, at making people believe in a fantasy. He and Ja Rule leveraged the power of social media like never before. They paid dozens of influencers to post a single orange square, creating a viral storm of curiosity and hype. People weren't just buying a ticket, they were buying into a lifestyle, an exclusive club promoted by the very people they idolized online. The problem was, the entire thing was built on a foundation of lies. The private island once owned by Pablo Escobar? Not true. They were kicked off the original island and had to scramble to find a new location, which was just an undeveloped patch of land near a sandals resort. The budget was a complete disaster. Millions were spent on marketing, influencers, and private jets for the promotional team, leaving almost nothing for the actual infrastructure of the festival. Experienced event producers were hired and then fired or quit when they realized the timeline and budget were impossible. They warned McFarland that it would be a disaster, that it was unsafe, but he refused to listen. He was so caught up in his own hype that he couldn't see the impending train wreck. He just kept pushing forward, lying to investors, to ticket holders, and to his own team. In the aftermath, the digital world exploded. The hashtag #FYRE Festival trended for days, filled with first-hand accounts of the disaster. The memes were relentless. That sad cheese sandwich became an internet legend. But beneath the jokes was a very serious story of fraud. Multiple lawsuits were filed, totaling over $100 million. 2 revealing documentaries, one on Netflix and one on Hulu, exposed the entire shocking story from the inside, featuring interviews with the duped employees and the deceived attendees. The fallout for the influencers who promoted the event was also significant. They faced a huge backlash for endorsing a scam, raising important questions about transparency and responsibility in influencer marketing. Are they responsible for vetting the products and events they promote? The Fyre fiasco certainly made a lot of people think so. And what about Billy McFarland, the mastermind behind it all? His house of cards came crashing down. He was arrested and charged with wire fraud. But even then, while out on bail, he started another scam, selling fake tickets to exclusive events like the Met Gala. This guy just couldn't stop. Ultimately, he was sentenced to 6 years in federal prison and ordered to pay back $26 million in restitution. Ja Rule, his partner, claimed he too was scammed and has largely avoided legal consequences. Though his reputation took a massive hit. He famously tweeted, amidst the chaos, "It's not my fault," which didn't exactly help his case. The Fyre Festival brand became synonymous with epic failure. The legacy of Fyre Festival is a complex one. It serves as a powerful cautionary tale about the gap between our online personas and reality. It exposed the dangers of fake-it-till-you-make-it culture and the immense, sometimes unchecked power of social media marketing. We live in an age where an image can be more powerful than the truth, and Fyre was the ultimate example of that. People bought into a feeling, a status symbol, an Instagram post waiting to happen. They weren't just buying a ticket. They were buying the story they could tell afterward. And in a way, they got one, just not the one they were expecting. It's a story of ambition gone horribly wrong. A modern-day Icarus who flew too close to the sun on wings made of influencer posts and venture capital. But let's not forget the real victims. The Bahamian workers who were left unpaid, and the attendees who were put in a genuinely dangerous situation. While it's easy to laugh at the absurdity of it all, the story of Fyre Festival is a dark and important lesson for the digital age. It reminds us to always look past the glamorous marketing and ask what's really behind the orange square. It's a reminder that if something looks too good to be true, it probably is. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as wild as I did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into some of the most unbelievable stories out there. Let me know in the comments what you think is the most shocking part of the Fyre Festival saga. See you in the next one.